Welcome to the Flourish Academy podcast. My name is Heather Lautinen, and I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Mara Chick. We believe everyone can be successful in any endeavor they pursue, whether it's personal or professional, by constantly nourishing your mind. By reading books, you can impart wisdom and tactics into your life and business. In this podcast, we will be discussing the books that have impacted us and share actionable strategies at the end of each episode to help you succeed.
So sit back and relax because we'll do the reading for you. We are today finishing up our discussion on Successful Women Think Differently by Valorie Burton. Again, one of my favorite authors ever. And we're moving straight into Habit 7, and it is called Don't Be a Maximizer. How overabundance can rob you of satisfaction and make you ineffective. Ooh, this is going to be a good one, Heather. I feel it.
When I first read that title, I didn't quite understand what she meant.
Yes. And it's really about perfectionism. And are you ready to get started?
I am.
Okay, we're going to jump straight into page 150. I'm going to read a couple excerpts from 150 through 152. So, waiting for perfect conditions is a strategy for missed opportunities and procrastination. Disguised as prudence and caution, the process of making a choice can make it look like you are taking action and moving forward when in fact you are procrastinating. You know in your heart which is true. The key is to learn how to stop being a maximizer and start being a satisfizer. Okay?
Right.
That term is a combination of satisfy and suffice. Do you think I said that right? Satisfizer.
That's how I was saying it in my head. So yes,
Okay.
I believe you did.
Valorie says, it's about setting the minimum standard you'll need in order to be satisfied and deciding that when you find the situation or answer that meets that minimum, it will suffice. You found an answer that will suffice, and your time and energy can be better spent moving on to other matters. Okay, I'm moving into page 152 now. Finding what's good enough is about getting in touch with your authentic priorities and desires. It is an internal decision, a gut check, rather than an external one based on impressing or gaining the approval of others. Lower your expectations of the outcome of any given decision and stop comparing your decisions with everyone else's. Are you a satisficer? Well, I'm going to have, I don't think she uses this word a lot, but.
Well, it's a made-up word. So
I can make up my own words too, Valorie.
Satisfy and suffice. So when I think about it in contrast to perfectionism, then no, I'm not. I've struggled with this, for sure. I want everything to be perfect. But I also know progress beats perfection. So I have been really good in probably the past 3 to 4 years at working on things to get them moving and forward without being perfect. I have worked on this. So in that regard, I am working my way towards becoming a satisficer.
Satisficer. It's also a tongue twister.
It is. It is. I think so. I've done better with this, but I have not always been that way because, like many women, people struggle with perfectionism. I want it to be perfect. I want everything to be lined up in order to take action. But we both know that if we do that, nothing will ever happen. So we just go for it. I feel like are you similar? Is that?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, and I also go with the flow. But I know, now I know where my priorities are aligned, right? I know what my goal is and where I want to be because I see it clearly. I've mapped it out. I dream about it, think about it all the time. And so now it's easier for me to make decisions that I know are based on where I want to go. Can you photograph my newborn? No.
It's very clear no to you.
It's
right?
a no. And it's not a no, I'm sorry. It's just a no because I don't have anything to be sorry about. It just doesn't align with where I want to take myself, and that's not going to get me there. So I can easily evaluate choices I need to make, decisions based on where I want to go and what I want to do. Is it going to get me there? No? Then no. The answer is no.
Right.
Simple decision tree.
A simple decision tree. Don't we all have those?
No, that's so simple, right?
Right.
Okay, straight to page 156 and 157. Valorie talks about owning your decisions. She says another important element of eliminating regret is to own your choices. It can be tempting to make choices and then behave as though your choices were not your choices at all. Instead, you tell yourself you had no other option. But the truth is that you always have more options. Sometimes those options are not ones you would like very much, but they are options nonetheless. Do you see a trend with what we talk about? Owning decisions,
owning your
choices, and you have the control over everything, and well, not everything, but you have control over your life and what you can do. And
you have control over more things than you think. She says, for example, perhaps you don't like your current job, but you choose to get up every day and go do it. That's a choice. What is the alternative? Well, there's the radical choice to quit. I tell people everything's a choice, and they say, really, everything? I have to pay my taxes. And I said, false. You don't have to pay your taxes. It's just that there are consequences if you do not pay your taxes. And no, I don't want to go to jail. So, yes, I will pay my taxes, but it's still a choice.
It's still a choice. Everything is a choice. I could have quit my corporate job long ago.
Right. Sooner,
and it would have been a choice. Okay. So, moving straight into page 160. By noticing your good decisions and choices, you acknowledge your decision-making ability. This builds your self-efficacy. Did I say that right, too? Yes, thank you. I struggle with hard words.
I can write well, but
I can't. No. All right. Okay. Your belief that you can do what you set out to do. By identifying the lessons, you reinforce them as you move ahead to make new decisions and choices in critical areas of your life based on previous lessons. By the same token, happily successful women don't just look back over their lives at the major decision points worthy of celebration. They acknowledge the major decisions they'd made differently if they had known than what they know now. This too takes confidence. It is the confidence that emerges when you truly own your decisions and choices. All of your decisions and choices, even the bad ones. This level of self-awareness reveals an authenticity that fosters resilience and acceptance of yourself, warts and all. Noticing bad decisions can even help you see patterns you may want to break. You can make a conscious choice to break those patterns, but only if you notice them. Noticing them requires this type of self-reflection. Are there any bad decisions that you would like to share with everybody?
Oh, that's a great question.
And what did you learn, if there's any that you want to share?
Certainly, I have made some not awesome decisions in my life, but as I have matured, I've done better, obviously, at making wiser choices. But if you want to know, I actually wrote in the book my bad decisions. What's that word right there?
It says none.
It says none because I have always practiced regret minimization framework. Always. I have since I was young. And I think, that doesn't mean I haven't made minor missteps. Of course I had. But I have minimized major bad decisions by thinking them through. Again, I have forward thinking. I think of the future. How would this impact? So, yes, I've made poor small decisions, but I've never made a poor big decision. So when faced with decisions, there can be a paralysis. Many people face it. Many of my clients face it. So I ask them, okay, what's the desired outcome? What happens if you make this decision? Or if you go the alternative route, what happens then? Will you lose your legs? Is it a reversible decision? Is it something you could change if you needed to? Did you know that most decisions we make, very close to all, are reversible? Which means if you make a wrong one, you can fix it. There are very few that are not reversible. You know, one I can think of is having children. You have children, that's 18 to life. You have them for sure. So that's not a reversible decision. But many decisions are reversible. Oh, I didn't like, that couch I ordered. Okay, well, I could get another one and sell that one if I wanted to, or have to live with this couch for however many years. Okay, that's not the end of the world. So you have to weigh your decisions based on importance. Yes, if you are making a critical, important, big, life-changing decision, weigh your options carefully. Seek wise counsel. But for small decisions in your life and your business, make good ones, but don't get hung up on looking for all of the information. Make the best decision based on the knowledge you have. Move forward. If it turns out to be wrong, learn from it and change course.
Aye, Captain.
End of story. Regret minimization framework. That's what I practice.
Okay, thank you for
You're
that.
welcome.
I'll try that out. Okay, we're going to move straight to page 167. And Here again, you will notice a trend in everything that we discuss. Start owning your choices and you'll be empowered to truly own your life. Your eyes will be open to the ways in which you have the power to impact your own future. You will become more comfortable in your own skin. You will be less likely to feel sorry for yourself because you will finally see that you are not a victim of circumstance, but rather a person who can choose how to respond to circumstances that come her way. When you are clear about your values, standards, and needs, the opportunity to make a conscious choice in any given circumstance becomes clear. When you are making a career choice, your values and needs can help you see an opportunity that looks good on the surface but may not be right for you. When making a decision in a relationship, you can evaluate your choices and make wise decisions about how to proceed. If a situation doesn't meet the criteria, you know better how to categorize it. The bottom line is this: you don't have to entertain every option that comes your way. You make choices daily, make them consciously, own your decisions.
And move forward. Just keep moving forward, because progress equals happiness, and progress gives you clarity. So as you move forward, you start to learn more about yourself, what makes you tick. Oh, good decision, bad decision. All right. And you get better at making decisions, but you have to be willing to make some missteps in order to get to that point.
We've all made missteps. I mean, it's not something that anyone can't look you in the eye and say, "Oh no, it's been perfect from beginning to end," because that's just not true. Okay, and then on page 168, perfectionism. Perfectionists are more likely to put off making a decision. They procrastinate, and they are less happy than those who have high standards, but who aren't obsessed with perfection. If you aren't careful, perfectionism can cause you to miss the joy in the journey as you focus exclusively on the destination.
She says, focus on progress, not perfection. Get a clear sense of the purpose in everything you do. Then it will be easier to know which things deserve that extra time to get things just right and which things don't. Again, there are things that need your attention more seriously than others, but not everything has to be absolutely perfect. Limit your options. Don't explore too many options. Narrow them down and be decisive. I work so hard with my clients and my children in this regard. I just need you to be decisive. Make a decision and move forward, and be okay with the fact that it could be a wrong one, but it's not the end of the world.
It's not. You can recover.
You can recover.
And I always say done is better than perfect. If you're waiting for perfect, it's not attainable. And in my self-love group, it's like, there's no such thing as the perfect body. We're trying to get to this ideal perfection, but it doesn't exist. There's no such thing as perfect. And even if you look at something and say, oh, that was perfect the way they handled that, I bet you behind the scenes there are 30 things that you didn't know happened.
That weren't perfect, right?
Okay, as we end habit 7 here, just one strategy that I wanted to share with you guys. So I want you to get very clear on your values, standards, needs, and your goals. Okay?
Okay, very clear
on what all those things are. Okay? And then each decision that you need to make needs to be evaluated against that list. Does it align with what your values are, your standards are, your goals, your ultimate goals? And then the decision becomes easier for you.
It does, but you have to have those goals defined, and you have to know who you are. In a previous episode, we talked about values. There is a download on the website in a previous episode for values, for what you value in your life, but you have to have those clearly defined. That's why people don't know how to make decisions, is because they don't know the answers to those questions. If you know those things, I think it was Dave Ramsey said that every situation you encounter should be decided before you encounter it. Every decision should be made before you encounter it. That is, you have standards and values. You know what those are. So when the decision presents itself, it's easy. It's either yes, no, or however you're going to move forward, if you are clear on those items.
Awesome. So we're going to look forward to hear how decisions get easier for you guys. So leave us some comments.
Are you paralyzed by decisions? I know a lot of people that are.
People are, yeah. Mm-hmm. It gets easier once you have it
I think so.
defined. And we'll link again to the core values in the show notes. So check those out. Okay, moving on to habit 8. It's called Don't Go It Alone. Why authentic connections are more important than ever and how you can cultivate them. So I'm going to pick up on page, I have some notes here. This is page 172. Okay. We think our problem is so different from everyone else's. And when you think that, you give the problem more power than it deserves. You make it unique. You beat yourself up about it. And worst of all, you don't open your eyes to the solutions and support that exist. You can't make a change until you stop hiding your challenge and begin sharing it. A habit that will accelerate your success and increase your happiness more than anything else is reaching out, making authentic connections, and celebrating with others. Okay. This is all about vulnerability for me. So I feel like we hide ourselves a lot because we're afraid of sharing things about us that people will be like, oh, ew, that's so unique. Like we think it's unique to us. I recently wrote a blog post about my sadness over not being a mother. And I can't tell you how many women wrote to me that said, like, this is exactly how I felt. Everything I ever felt was in your blog post. And it just made me feel like the sadness that I felt, like, lifted someone else up, and that was okay, and that struggle was fine. It was okay to share it because other people could relate and know that it's fine. And even though I'm sad, I'm immensely happy for other people. But being able to share that and be open with people, it really brought people that I have never, like, I don't have a relationship with out, and we're just like, thank you so much for putting it into words. It's everything I ever felt. And I had people that don't struggle with being a parent, and they were like, your words just meant something more to me. I don't struggle with motherhood, but I struggle in other areas of my life, and I can completely relate with what you wrote. So showing your vulnerability is not a bad thing. It actually makes people come together and in a group.
And do you feel like that lightened the load for everyone?
Yes.
It took some pressure off of you.
There was just this whole weight that lifted off of me, knowing that, like, okay, this is something that I've been, like, keeping inside, and I just let it out. And just this pressure came off of me, knowing that, like, okay, I got it. I'll link to that article.
I think that you should. It was
in the show notes.
Great article, and I feel like it was very cathartic for you and freeing.
It was.
And what led to other people
then
also
opening up.
Yeah,
and
it was cathartic for them.
It's something we don't talk about a lot. So, and I think we need to change that too. Okay. And then in the next section, sorry, I'm just going to move on real quick. Learning from others. It starts with making authentic connections. Every truly successful woman makes them. It will accelerate your goals and shorten your learning curve. Okay. This was important for us when we started our mastermind group. So Heather and I, if you don't know, run the Flourish.Academy mastermind, which opens every quarter as spots are available. We only allow 10 people in to our mastermind because we really invest in each individual. And for us, it was making those connections and getting people involved in each other's lives. So one of the things that we did in the mastermind is created accountability partners for everyone that's in the group. So aside from us holding them accountable, they have someone else in the group that they can then start building connections with. Because then you see in your struggles and running your business, like, you're not alone. There's someone there that's, like, by your side that can help you, and someone that you'll get to know. And then you build a connection from the ground up. And I love seeing that happen as a mentor and a leader.
I love that too, because they gain a different, unique perspective. It may not even be someone that you were initially drawn to, but you learn something new from every interaction. It's so important to learn from those that are around you and to seek to cultivate those relationships.
Perfect. So moving on to page 174, Valorie starts talking about fulfillment happens through connection. So she says, success rarely happens in isolation. When it does, it is less gratifying. Our sense of meaning and purpose is fulfilled in relationship to our impact on others. The most successful women are those who have built positive relationships that form a personal and enduring community of family, friends, colleagues, and neighbors. Great things really aren't achieved alone.
Nope.
And plus, it's more fun to celebrate successes with people. Like, if I throw a party by myself, that's not so fun.
Right.
But if I can call you, I remember calling you when, I know this is a small example, but when my shed was delivered, we talked in an earlier episode about the shed that I paid cash for, and it was being delivered, and I started crying, and I called Heather, and I'm like, it's here. It's my shit. Like, just the little successes, like, we could celebrate together, because you knew that I didn't just go buy it. Like, I saved and saved and saved and bought it with cash. And, like, it was fun to have someone to celebrate it with. So
The whole journey.
The whole journey. The
Right.
success doesn't happen in a vacuum. We're not alone.
We're not
other
meant
people.
to operate that way.
We can't. So make sure you get around other people, and then it's more fun. They'll help you celebrate
I think
in
so.
better ways than you could by yourself.
Right.
Okay. So we're going to end habit 8 there. We have one habit left. But before we move on to that, just a quick strategy for habit 8. Don't go it alone. And my biggest advice for you guys is to get connected, whether that's to a group of people or one individual. Join a mastermind. I mean, I think that's one of the best things. Like Heather and I both have masterminds individually, like that we participate in. We lead one together, but she, excuse me, she has a mastermind with a couple other people, and I have a mastermind with a couple other people. And it is so beneficial to have people that you can just rub ideas off of and sit there and talk and go through your struggles and then figure out how we're going to create action plans and go after it together. And they are involved in our businesses and our lives. And that's so good. So I really recommend that everyone try to find a mastermind and join that if you really want to get with some like-minded people.
I love it.
Because people in masterminds are ones that are like ready to go.
Get after it.
Yeah, they're not just sitting around. Okay, ready?
I am.
Habit 9.
We're wrapping up this
wrapping
book.
it up.
Because the subtitle is 9 habits to make you happier, healthier, and more resilient.
And we are at habit 9, and it's called Write It Down. The revealing reasons you need to tap into the power of the pen starting today, okay? This is going to be really quick for us. So, because if you'll notice, all of my strategies that I've provided you with this book have all been kind of around writing things down and journaling. Have you seen a trend, Heather?
I have seen a trend.
Not sure if you've noticed.
Right. You think that it's critically important to capture this on paper.
I think writing it down is like the best thing ever because really it gets it into your mind.
It's the difference between success and not success. Actually, it's that critical.
Write it down, okay?
Yes.
I'm going to read from page 183, okay? And this is actually your strategy too, so. Writing is a tool for processing events, and this act of processing proves to be therapeutic. In some ways, writing simply validates your experience. It acknowledges it. If you write from a truthful place, whatever that truth is, you have the opportunity to benefit tremendously from the conscious art of writing. After writing earnestly and from the heart, writing can sometimes give you a third-person experience. Putting experiences on the page, and especially rereading those experiences, makes you a witness to your own life. That in itself is a very powerful experience. You don't often get to experience yourself outside of yourself, and when you do, you often are able to see yourself more objectively. Do you journal at all, Heather?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
I know you're not a writer per se, but...
I actually have a question for you about this.
Okay, go ahead.
What if I don't write well?
It doesn't matter, just write. Just write. That's an excuse.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm writing.
I know, but if someone says I'm not a writer, hey, how about you just take... And I'm not saying... Okay, see, this is the thing with writing and journaling. People think they need to write pages and pages and pages every day. If you are trying to do that, you are either, one, a writer, or you have no clue what you're doing. Okay, I'm not an official writer. I don't write books yet. No, I'm just kidding. I don't write books. But if I did, I would have journals of pages and pages and pages every day. No, I'm an entrepreneur. So I journal a page a day, maybe every other day. But when I do like my self-love projects that I run, I have them journal once a week. I mean,
it's not that much.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Don't reach like, I'm going to journal 20 pages a day. It's going to be great and therapeutic. No, start small, work your way up. Because if it's too big of a daunting task, you're never going to start. You're going to be like, I can't sit down for 20 minutes and journal. And then what you think turns into like an hour and a half. So start small, just journal a little, like, how was your day? What did you do? What are your goals?
Right.
Little things
Otherwise,
like that.
it can be overwhelming. So a mutual friend of ours, Brooke, purchased a journal for me a couple of months ago, and it's called 5 Years some 5-year journal. It's where you write, every day. You write every day, but just a couple of lines. Excuse me. So I've been doing that for, I think, 4 or 5 months straight, and I haven't missed a day, which has been huge for me. And it is kind of funny to read back and see what I was talking about, but it's very brief.
Yeah.
Because for me, it has to be.
I'm
not a writer. And I like to read when I get into bed, but I have been journaling because every single book you and I have read,
everything says write it down.
Write it down and journal. They all say it.
And we do what the books say. And you should do what we say.
Because the books tell us.
The books tell us what to do. All right, well, that's everything for Successful Women Think Differently by Valorie Burton. Heather, just quickly, what did you think of this book?
I loved this book. I highly recommend this book. If you got a lot out of this podcast, that's great, but pick it up and read it. And the reason is she has a lot of actionable items in there in areas where you can write things in. So she has exercises that she walks you through that I think are incredibly valuable. Now, in the essence of time, we're not able to do all of those in the podcast. So if you enjoyed this, you should definitely pick it up. I would read this book several times over. I would actually read anything from her several times over.
Yeah, you've got to read everything by her.
She's fantastic.
This is an amazing book for me. I love everything Valorie writes. It really speaks to me. There's been a lot of times where I have messaged you and been like, oh my gosh, she's writing to me.
I've said the same thing. How does she know us?
She wrote that about me.
Right.
What the heck? Right. Valorie, come over for dinner then if we're that close.
We're basically best friends.
Come on. Hello. So yeah, I do recommend, I said to Heather today that Valorie writes like she's coaching you. Mm-hmm. So that's why she has a lot of areas where you can write down things in the book, and it's super great. So check it out. And as we end, Heather, do you want to tell everyone how they can support our podcast?
Absolutely. First, you're going to want to support yourself by going to the website and grabbing Mara's show notes and actionable strategies. She has them listed there by episode. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you listen to podcasts. Please like, share. Most importantly, we need that review. If you could leave us a review, it would be awesome.
We need that review.
We need it. If you prefer video, you can also watch and subscribe on YouTube. Just go to Flourish.Academy.tv. If you like the content, share it with your friends. Tell them about us. We would be super appreciative. And if you'd like to purchase any of the books that we discuss in the podcast, we have a link in the show notes. It's our Amazon affiliate link. It just helps to offset some costs. While you're there, go ahead and continue shopping because we know you do.
I do.
An Amazon package came yesterday and today at this house.
I had 5 waiting for me when I got home this weekend. Okay, never mind that. Okay, according to my husband, nothing came because he didn't see them. I got that.
Doesn't happen. Right.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to our podcast today. We'll catch you next time here on the Flourish Academy podcast.